everyone, welcome to Liv's Views, where I share my opinions on TV shows and movies. Today I thought I'd rank all of Rory Gilmore's love interests. So I have a little dice pillow here since I'm gonna be gambling with a few controversial opinions. So first, let's start with Dean. Dean was so good that first season. I mean, he was described as the perfect first boyfriend, and it turns out he is not so perfect. So I kind of feel iffy about this character overall because I feel like we were misled in a sense where it's like, oh, perfect first boyfriend, Dean's so sweet, Dean is honestly caring and all of that. But then we start to see a side of him. We start to see some aggressive behaviors and we start to see that he's easily irritable and his storyline overall just feels very erratic to me. So I think I'll have no choice than to just put him in no thank you next. Because honestly, the way he was behaving, it's not good at all. Like, if we can just put that out of the way, like, I think a lot of people are Team Dean, and I understand everyone has different opinions, but I feel like he just wasn't secure. Like, he wasn't secure in her world. He felt very insecure overall, and then he cheated like with her, and I feel like cheating is such a no-go. And I know there are other characters who also dabbled in cheating, but I mean, I just feel like with everything built up, this character can't go into any other category than thank you, or rather, no thank you, next. Since I'm gonna leave the hard hitters for last, so I'm gonna leave Logan and Jess for last, I'm going to move on to Tristan. Tristan, I mean, there's not a lot going on there. I feel like we started a storyline. And then, of course, Chad Michael Murray had to leave for One Tree Hill, which, if you haven't watched One Tree Hill, honestly do. It's so good. It's honestly so good. So I feel like it's good that he left, but I feel like that whole storyline could have been explored so much more. We could have seen some growth in his character and everything like that. So I feel like he has to go into the could have been better category. Otherwise, there's just nothing we can say about that further. So I'm gonna move on to Marty, another kind of insignificant character. I mean, I feel like their friendship was solid at the beginning. He obviously had feelings for her. And I feel like that is something to be said about those kinds of friendships where someone is interested and the other person isn't. I feel like he let his feelings get in the way of their friendship. At the end of the day, he decided that, like, it's not really worth it. He'd rather not be friends with her just because she started, you know, being interested in Logan. And I feel like that's iffy. But I mean, I guess it hurts. So he was like, yeah, whatever. I'm just gonna leave Rory. Rory doesn't exist. And that plays into later when he acts like he doesn't know her at all. Which, who acts like they don't know another person? Like, that was really strange. And then he tells her he thinks she's beautiful, which I'm like, you just acted like she doesn't exist. You know, I'm actually gonna move Tristan into Matt, just Matt, because he's just there, you know? And I'm actually gonna put Marty into could have been better because the way he ended up treating her was just not it. The way he treated his girlfriend by lying to her and then telling Rory she's beautiful while having a girlfriend, we just don't stand for that over here. So yeah. So next, let's move on to Paul. Since he was a pretty insignificant character as well, I feel like they didn't really explore his personality except being like, oh, he's boring. So, I mean, let's just face it, Paul deserved better. Like, you don't just go around ignoring. I'm so sorry. Do you guys hear that bird? Like, it's raining, so I'm sure you already hear the rain. But now there's a bird too. I'm so sorry about that. But let's just get back to this. I feel like Paul deserved so much better because you don't just go around ignoring a person. Like, I mean, he has like those feelings, so I mean, it's just, it wasn't a good thing on her part. But her behavior overall in the revival was just messy. But that's a topic for another video that will be coming soon because I have a lot of opinions on that. So I'm gonna put Paul in meh, just meh, because I feel like, yes, it could have been better, but I feel like he's just there in the middle. Like, there wasn't really anything majorly going on there. Okay, now we're moving on to two of the most significant relationships in my opinion. So I'm gonna start off with Jess. When we meet Jess, he's this mysterious bad boy, troubled kid, but we can tell he's very intelligent. And we think, you know, he has a good heart. We can sense that. Like, it's not at all anything to do with the way he looks. I mean, we can just tell. But I feel like this character, you know, it was a very good option for Rory. I feel like they could have been really good together. He does have a lot of flaws. There is that like party scene that just doesn't sit well with me. I mean, if someone tells you no, that, or wait, that is when you back off. So I feel like that wasn't handled that well. There's also a few like parts in the show where he lies a lot, and I just feel like that is unnecessary and that adds to a lot of the negative qualities that he has. But overall, his growth as a character is just amazing. I love that he is kind of like misunderstood. And I feel like he has just grown exponentially. Like, I watched him in the revival and I was like, wow, he has grown up, he has flourished, and I feel like this is an amazing option for her. Like, I can see them together. I think they would be really good. And I know there are a few theories that he's like her Luke, and Logan is her Christopher, and I find that also quite interesting. But at the end of the day, I honestly love his character, and I feel like they are a very good match. I feel like they are a perfect example of meeting the right person at the wrong time. So I can just put Jess in one place, and that is love that for her. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, if I'm saying right person, wrong time, why am I not putting him in perfect soulmate endgame? And there's a reason for that. I think that none of these characters are perfect because not one of them has just pure perfection, because in life that doesn't exist, and clearly in TV shows as well. So I just feel like without her character growing first, saying one of these characters is her soulmate or endgame or perfect just doesn't feel right. I feel like she is in such an erratic place. If we see another few seasons, then my mind might change about who I think her soulmate is. But at this stage, I just can't make a conclusion on that. So that pretty much explains where I stand with Logan as well. I mean, when we meet Logan, at first he's so charming. Like, honestly, love him. And they have like similar interests. The only thing is, Logan is quite irresponsible, and that rubs off on Rory, so he makes her irresponsible as well. And then we have basically an ultimatum when he asks her to marry him, and she proposes they try long distance, and he just says, no, that's not gonna work for him. Which, I mean, he has a right to say that, but I feel like she maybe shouldn't have turned him down. On the other hand, I feel like he could have been more understanding by just maybe trying long distance. I don't know. I feel like Rory and Logan together, they learned so much and they grew. And you can see that maturity in Logan start to form throughout the seasons. I really feel like he was very supportive of Rory and he overall was just very caring. I really love the rocket, and I honestly feel like that was such a thoughtful and caring like gift to give someone. So yeah, I honestly feel like Logan is such a strong contender for the person she should have ended up with. So I must say it's now been confirmed by a costume designer on the show that Logan is the baby daddy. So basically she said everyone should go do the math. If it was Paul, she would have been further along. I think she said if it was the Wookiee, she would have also been further along. And they purposefully did not put any like fake baby belly on her. The costume department wasn't instructed to make a little bump for her. So the costume designer said if you do the math, the only person the father can be is Logan. So that brings a few interesting questions, because does that mean that Logan is the one she's going to end up with? Like, were they supposed to be reunited upon this news and like start their little family and be happy? Or is Logan Rory's Christopher and will Jess, for example, be her like Luke? Or will she take a different path and will her and Logan actually work out? I think that's definitely interesting, and with that, I'm gonna put Logan in love that for her. Again, without seeing the character of Rory grow, I can't solidly say someone is perfect or her soulmate, because at this stage, our girl's a mess. Like, on the one hand, I hope they do another season where we just see her like just flourish and become better. On the other hand, I'm like, ugh, do I even want to watch anything else about this revival? Like, I'm at the stage where like I watch Gilmore Girls and then go back to season 1 instead of watching the revival, because sometimes I like to forget that that happened. So I mean, that's basically that for ranking the Gilmore boys. So please let me know what you guys think in the comments. Like, I'd really be interested to see everyone's opinions, since again, this is just my own opinions. And please do like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys again in another video. Preferably one where I talk about Rory's downfall, because I have a lot of opinions regarding that. Thank you and happy watching.